walking away from you.
So it looks like the local performer tonight is like a cowboy country western thing, and it's actually really nice. You know, you have a country western lantern over there on the table, and the guy, he's telling his life story, and he also has experience with drug. The current song now is about walking around, and I just think it's so appropriate and fitting. So we're just going to listen and end the commentary. Almost a full house tonight, and we've got some folks over here. So we're just going to see what it is tonight.
I'm getting your dream, and I'm walking away from you. Hey, yes, I'm walking down the country road. I'm walking. Got no one to share my load. I keep walking. Oh, well, the writing there was on the wall, and it left me alone with nothing at all. I'm walking away from you.
Now I suppose we could record this the full length, but I'm certain there's some copywriting things, so we're just gonna put a little sample so you get the overall ambience of what it's like here, you know. And I'm gonna interrupt the video with my commentary just so. Bravo.
I've never been the kind of guy that's had a whole lot of friends, mostly because I've been traveling. By the time I turned age 39, I had a grade 7 education. I hadn't been able to keep a job for any longer than 2 years, maybe, at the very most. I just kept moving from town to town because getting to know people and the life I was living back then, you didn't want to get to know them too well because you knew you were going to miss them when they went away. So you didn't make a connection too hard. I was fortunate that I did make one connection. And my buddy's name was George. We were in our 20s. I was living on a Native Indian reserve out in Ashcroft, British Columbia. And I made friends with George. George was like a brother to me. I had 3 brothers, but I didn't know. When we were in the orphanage in England, we weren't allowed to meet up with each other because they were afraid that we'd all get together and run away. There was a train went by outside Farningham Home, and it would slow down underneath the bridge and stop in Dartford. And some kids, because you were there are kids there from age 4 to about 16, some kids would try and run at night and climb over that wall, head down to the bridge, and then try and jump on top of the carriages on the train. Sometimes they didn't land on the carriage while the train was still moving. So they figured the better part of the publicity thing was keep the kids separated if they're part of a family. I didn't know my brothers. I just thought they were strangers. When they put us on a bus and they took us to London Airport to fly to Canada when I was 11 years old. And it wasn't until I was in the airport that somebody from Farningham Home for Boys gave my older brother Ian a piece of paper. And he said, "This is for all of yous." He says, "Why them?" He said, "Your brothers." So I had a pretty tough time for a long time trying to figure out what a relationship was all about. And when I met George, George just took me for who I was. And I took George for who he was. And we sure weren't perfect. But he was kind of a cool guy. We both had girlfriends at the time. His name was Jolene, and my girlfriend's name was May. And sometimes when the girls got too bossy, we'd jump in the car, grab a gallon of Applejack. I don't know if anybody here's old enough to remember Cherry Jack and Applejack wine. And believe it or not, we'd head up to the Ashcroft dump, which was up in the hills, nice and quiet. We could be away from everybody and chant. Some really weird conversations after half a bottle of Applejack, I'll tell you that. But in any event, I thought, well, we're rummaging around, looking around. I saw this blonde wig. I thought, oh man, I got an idea. So we finished the Applejack. I put on the blonde wig and a pair of sunglasses. And we drove back down into Ashcroft. Now, May and Jolene have been looking for us for about an hour or so. And then they see the car coming, and they're looking, and you could just see their eyes are getting wider, because I'm draped over George with my blonde wig and my sunglasses. Jolene was not a happy camper. That's the kind of life George and I had. We had serious times where we had fun, sometimes we were crazy. I was able to make a decision not to look back, but George wasn't able to do that. Right to the bitter end, right until we buried him. He was my friend. I was never a judge, and neither was he. This is the first song I ever wrote. Well, I cared today, I shared today. You got me loving you.
A lot of these country folk stories and country folk songs might sound simple and but there's actually a lot of meaning behind it, and it's just explanation of it that's simple. So I mean, if you maybe play the video and listen and fully appreciate what the man just said, everything from the trains in London to his friend George, and just totally disregard how it was explained. Anyway, here's the song.
That we shared when I was feeling down and out, you let me know you cared, and I know that we'll be leaving soon. We may not meet again. I want you to know, doesn't show, won't be forgiven, my good friend.
Apparently a young lady just went and complained that we're recording in here, so we're obliged to leave. She's talking to the person and they look directly at us. So at this time we didn't ask if we were allowed to record, but now we'll see if the man will come and chastise us. So we'll see.
We seem to grow and grow. Now it's time for me to get on with this business they call living. But when times get tough, I remember you, all the love that I've been given. So thank you for the good times, all the laughter that we shared. When I was feeling down and out, you told me that you cared. And I know that we'll be leaving soon. We may not meet again.
We feel unwelcomed. We are going to leave right now.